It's time now for a strategy session. A Santa Claus rally is coming for big tech stocks into year end, and we could see another 20% climb coming next year in 2025. That's according to our next guest. Here to tell us why, we want to bring in Dan Ives. He's Wedbush Securities' a senior equity research analyst. Dan, your latest note caught our attention. You're very bullish into the end of the year. You're bullish, to say the least, going into 2025. What are the key drivers of that?
I think it's get the popcorn out, because when you look at the AI party, now it's about the second, third, fourth derivatives playing out. I think Salesforce was the key moment last night. Is, this AI party, it's 10 p.m. and it goes to 4 a.m. I think tech stocks are up over 20% next year as the bears continue to have trouble finding AI in their spreadsheets when they're hibernating in their caves.
I mean, what type of spend do we anticipate continues to make sense, and at what level for some of the early kind of dipping the toe in the water of everything from Agentforce and what that could mean for companies, all the way into, hey, how much data center space, how many more racks do we need just in order to make sure that we've got enough to run all the inference technology that's going to be necessary?
Yeah, I think you nailed it in terms of that question. Because look, I mean, to me, it's about the multiplier. For every dollar spent on an Nvidia chip, there's an $8 to $10 multiplier across tech, across software, infrastructure, cybersecurity. That's why this is going to be a tech bull market that rages into next year. Because now it's about the second, third, fourth derivative. Because now software, they're on the dance floor at the AI party. They're no longer waiting behind the velvet ropes. And now other tech players are trying to get in, cybersecurity, infrastructure. And I think that's what we're going to see, a broadening out of this tech rally in terms of where we see this fourth industrial revolution.
Dan, how much of this is Trump related, meaning the Trump administration returning to the White House, versus that unrelenting strong earnings growth that we have seen? And then, of course, this fear of missing out momentum that certainly seems to be at least somewhat of a factor in these gains.
Look, Trump, it's a Goldilocks scenario for tech. Deregulation, con at the FTC, clearly that's in the last days here. So that's going to be bullish for deal making. I think some of the antitrust concerns are going to start to go away. I mean, they'll still be there in the background. But then you look at $2 trillion of AI CapEx in a deregulatory environment with $6 trillion on the sidelines. And I just continue to say, like, haters will continue to hate. But more and more, you look at this AI spend, look at the use cases, obviously being led by the Messi of AI, Palantir, can't deny it. And I think that's why this party is going to rage on going into next year.
As you're thinking about, and you mentioned Palantir, and I was looking at Palantir as we all were in our newsroom yesterday, just trying to figure out, okay, more government contracts, it makes sense. They've already leaned into that and seemed like there was a setup for that. As you're thinking about the way forward for some of the names that have been, dare I say, culty tech names, but now have real contracts to actually back some of the growth on that trajectory too, how are you kind of evaluating what that runway may look like?
Well, so like when you talk about culty, I think some of it is like retail essentially was ahead of institutional. I mean, you could say that for Tesla, you could say that for Palantir, you could say that for many names. I think the difference now is that the AI revolution is here. And the Messi of AI, Palantir, continue to be front and center. I mean, I think my question on Palantir, I think it's not about this stock going from a teenager to a senior citizen. It's about, could this be the next Oracle, the next SAP? I think that's really the question as we look out. And like, look, we've talked about in the show, the bears have missed every transformational tech day in the last 15 years, waiting for some black swan event, focus on their spreadsheet, and they can't see it in their DCF. That's how they'll miss this AI revolution as well.
Do you think it's the next Oracle?
I believe Palantir could be the next Oracle, and there's nothing that makes me believe it can't be, given where we see enterprise, given AIP, given its special sauce. I don't see anyone else that could compete. And that's our view. From evaluation, you have to look out 3, 4, 5 years. But to deny the AI revolution's happening, that's like being negative against Otani, LeBron, Djokovic. That's where I view Palantir in that category, being the Messi of AI.
the mess of AI. Dan, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for taking the time here this morning. Always a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to grab some insights. Thanks.